Bitcoin bulls are on the move. Key levels for Bitcoin and alts to watch. Hey guys, it's Keith Allen back after, wow, what a volatile day we had yesterday. What a week we're having here. I don't even know what day is it. It's Wednesday, and things really been moving. Bulls charging hard, dragging the majority of altcoins along for the ride at the moment. And, let's face it, the long-term outlook for Bitcoin price really hasn't changed, in my opinion. I think the short-term outlook is looking pretty exciting, but, certainly more bullish than it was, say, a week ago. But we've got some pretty significant sell walls up above. So this is not by any means, 100% a done deal. So I think it is worth warranting that we can't, really gain much by simply speculating rather than speculate as usual. We're gonna really look at where the charts are setting things up. So rather than speculating on where prices could go or how long it could take to get there, in this analysis, I'm going to take a look at the, at some of the crypto market data that is, I think, giving us some insight to the longer term fundamentals. And we're, of course, going to look at charts now at the request of some of my followers. We're going to deviate from our normal just Bitcoin analysis, and we're going to take a peek at ETH and Litecoin and Solana and maybe even DOGE. And, if you've got something you want us to, you want to take a look at, live chat is open. Feel free to chime in and join the conversation. Before we do take that deep dive, if you'll do me one favor, if you like this content, please do me the favor of smashing all the buttons. Hit the like, hit the share, and share a comment. Please. I enjoy the comments. I engage with each and every one of them. And of course, they help me grow the stream. So to make sure that you don't miss any of these future analysis, I'm going to take a second, give you a second to go ahead and hit that subscribe bell right there in the corner on YouTube. If you're watching on X, I invite you to come over to YouTube and watch on the, and join the live chat if you'd like to. And otherwise, if you want to comment there, I will always follow up and check those posts and engage with you. With that, let's climb in first with a look at fire charts, so we can see what is overhead. I said we've got a kind of a heap of ask liquidity overhead resistance in that 70K range. Let me show you what that looks like, and then we'll drill into some of the other things. But since I have this open, I figure this is a good place to start. As you can see here, I'm opened up to a big giant 3-year chart here, and right overhead. We have, I'm going to zoom into this a little bit so it's a little easier for you to see. We have two blocks of ask liquidity stacked right here up to 70K. The first one is pretty much immediately overhead, above that 68K level. We've got, looks like 45 million and another 78 million on top of that. So we'll call it 80, 90, 100, 120, 125 plus million. I'm just, ballparking the math here. Sorry, I'm not the math guy, but you get the point. There's a lot right here that needs to be eaten through to get up above. So this is basically the resistance, liquidity-based resistance here that is holding things back. But as you can see, on the shorter term, there's been some aggressive buying here with pretty much all order classes. The yellow's been a little bit slower, but that's okay. Look at what the whales are doing. Look at what green is doing. They're all buying nonetheless, and we've seen quite a bit here in the last several hours. I will show you, and you can also see that 70K is building. Right, there's liquidity building here at 70K. And then, obviously we've got to get up above, to those 72K levels to take out, other higher highs. In my previous analysis this week, I was speculating a bit, even though I don't like to speculate. I always throw in a little something, just opinion wise, in terms of where I felt things would go. But I also covered that by saying, rather than speculate, let's look at the charts. And this is why we do this, because my opinion has been that I didn't expect a break out to an all-time high before the election. We still don't have validation that that's happening, but it very well could. So this is why I look at the charts, the technical levels, and the market data to make those determinations rather than rely on my speculation. Because let's face it, I do wrong really, really well. Okay, so I'm not an economist, I'm not a political analyst. I just I try and absorb all these things and form my own opinions, but ultimately, I don't trade on my speculative opinions. I trade on the charts. And so hopefully that's what you're going to gain from this analysis here today. So back to that overview, something that is really, really interesting to me is the way the liquidation map it has changed, and this is like a complete change of the game board from what we saw really just a few days ago. You see that obviously there was a short squeeze up past 65, but well up to 68 really at this point. But we had just a few days ago there was like 120 million in leveraged shorts, estimated 120 million in leveraged shorts up to like 90, 95 or 100K. I actually saved that on a post a little while ago. I think it was over on my personal channel. Let me see if I can show you real quickly what that looked like just a few days ago. Right here, right? So this is today's chart, and this is the chart from the 9th, right? So less than a week ago. And we had 120 million up here to the like 95K range. And this is now all gone. It didn't get liquidated because price hasn't gone that high. These guys, if I'm interpreting this right, it means that these guys have closed these shorts. So we have pretty much clean air at this point, and now shorts stacking, down here now. So I'll go back to the current chart, and you can see how that dynamic has completely changed here this week. So now, there's always the chance that we go back and clean these longs down here at some point in time. So just because we're making this move, don't think that price can't go back and dip below. Right? Obviously, this is aggressive upswing, and it is borderline breakout territory. And so those are the things that we're going to look at to monitor. Now, something else that I think speaks very well to the fundamentals is the Bitcoin ETF flow. I mean, massive numbers for Bitcoin yesterday. Not so much for ETH. ETH just like it's amazing how poorly the ETH ETF is performing. But we knew it wasn't going to perform nearly as well as Bitcoin would. And look at what's happened here this week, right? 253 million, 555 million, 371 million. This is huge. I mean, these are huge numbers. And I had another chart I shared this morning from Eric Balkanis. Do I have that one up here too? I want to show you that because that was pretty eye-opening as well. Check this out. Top Bitcoin holders in the world. Obviously, Satoshi Nakamoto with 1.1 million, but BlackRock here in that number 3 position. Grayscale not too far behind, but look at the combined total U.S. Bitcoin ETFs, and this is just U.S. right? We know that there ETFs in other parts of the world, like in Hong Kong. So I don't know what those numbers are, but we know that it is increasing the demand for Bitcoin long term. So this is huge, right? They're now the U.S. ETFs combined are now number 2 behind Satoshi Nakamoto in Bitcoin holdings. So my point to this is don't sleep on the fact that these Bitcoin ETFs are influencing long-term price, and also note that this goes in both directions, right? They're largely buying at this stage, and it's estimated that will likely continue for some time. But if these trades start to unwind, we could also see a lot of sell pressure coming from those ETFs. Right now, we're seeing decidedly more buy pressure. Now, speaking to that narrative of could things retrace? Of course, things can always retrace, And if you're looking for a sign, um, here's one for you. We're now back to greed. This cycle always never ceases to amaze me, right? And we always go back and forth. So just know that once greed gets super hot, we go back towards neutral and ultimately fear. Um, at the moment, things looking very, very positive, and it's when people get overconfident that we start seeing problems in the charts, right? So, you see a little bit of profit taking happening up here, but you also see Bitcoin bids stair stepping up. Look at this right here. This is a recent move. This morning, I posted that we had bids stacking above 66K, and now look, uh, one block of that looks like about 11 million has just moved up to 66.6, right? So this is more sentiment that should help push price up. Now, it's going to take a lot to cross the 70K level. And again, we're seeing some sell pressure happen right here, and that's okay. Profit taking is part of the game. Unrealized gains don't do you a lot of good, right? At some point, you want to take profits, unless you're just going Michael Saylor and you're holding on to this for the rest of your life. You do you. Anyhow, let's start looking at the candle charts and see how things are taking shape here. And we will start on Bitcoin. Well, let's start on Bitcoin as usual, right? And you can see that we are now approaching the 2021 top 69K level. And that has been a resistance level for a really, really long time. I mean, like ages since we broke it the first time, just to create that new all-time high. We've had drama around that level consistently, uh, week after week, month after month. You can see all the times on the daily chart that we engage with that level here, right? And so that will, in my opinion, even though that's not where the heaviest liquidity is stacked, that's where we need to see uh, us printing full candles. We're now finally getting full candle above this 2021 mid-cycle top. You remember we talked about clearing all of these resistance levels, okay? And look at what's happening here. We're about to form a golden cross between the 21-day and the 200-day moving average. That's a beautiful thing, right? It's already crossed the 50, the 100, and now focused on the 200. And as I said in my last analysis a couple days ago, we do have to go after these prior highs and make higher highs up in these more significant levels, right? 72K. But that series has to start somewhere. And for anybody new to the stream, we had this long series of higher lows and lower lows, a lower high and a lower low. So you see lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then we formed a double bottom off of this 54K level and now created our first higher low, our first higher high coming out of this downtrend. And now we're going after this level. This would be our next higher high. And then onward and upward, right? We got to grind out these levels one at a time. So even though there's a huge amount of liquidity-based resistance up to this level, and we have very strong technical resistance up here around 71.9, this level of the 2021 top 69K has been very telling since back in March. So if we can't print sustainable candles up there, if we can't print full candle bodies above that, then chances are we're going to come back and get a dip to buy, perhaps, right? So be in tune to that. We'd also talked about, and this is a long time ago, right? We talked about this potentially being a cup and handle formation here. And it does have a lot of the characteristics of that. One of the things that I questioned was the volume, right? It looked like as this handle was forming that we were getting higher volume, which we did until things got really ugly, right? And so at this point, we should see for this to validate as a cup and handle. And I don't know that we get the classic moves, right? In a classic cup and handle, you're going to see, downtrend, and then you're going to see volume picking up on the uptrend out. So that's what we need to see right here to validate this is a cup and handle. And why that's important is because if it is indeed a cup and handle, we will get a measured move that we could take out of this. So just to illustrate what that looks like, and I'll go to a cleaner chart that doesn't have all this noise on it to help you with that. Let's see. Let's go here. That's Doge can't. That's a Doge, but we'll come back to Doge in a little bit, right? Let's go to Bitcoin, and we can see that we have. And I'm going to take the trend precognition signals out here to make it easier to see. We can see that we actually are starting to break this downtrend, right? We're starting to break the handle here. So if this is let's go to all right, I'm gonna do some drawing for you. I suck at this, but bear with me for a second. We'll just go down and dirty here, right? So let's assume that this is the cup, and this is the handle formation looking pretty good here. We need to see increased volume on this breakout move, which isn't really happening yet. If it does, right, if we see continued if we see an increase in the volume as we make it to the breakout, then I would estimate this on a measured move. And two ways to estimate a measured move. You could do it with linearly, or or logarithmically. So since I'm using a log scale here on the chart, you can see we're going to do that with a percentile move. So to do that, we grab our price range tool. We'll go to the top rim of the cup and take it down to the bottom of the cup. And that's about a 78% move. Not perfect, but you get the idea. And so now to do the same measured move to the upside from the break, from the break of the cup, let's go boom. And what was that? 70, what do we say? 78%. That gets us up here in that 128 range, right? So it's not going to be perfect. It might be 120, it might be 125, it might be 130 or 130, or potentially even higher. But this is kind of the target range I'm looking at if we do indeed get this breakout above, and it happens on increasing volume. But as you can see, most recently, volume has been declining. So that would invalidate a classic cup and handle move. We'll see. We'll just have to watch and see how that develops from here. Now, in my X feed, I've had some requests to look at some other coins, including ETH, and I've been talking about Litecoin lately, and everybody's always interested in Solana and Doge making some moves. You can see here really the alt market is moving pretty well along with Bitcoin here, right? So that's pretty common. When we see Bitcoin moving, the rest of the market moves with it, and so that's no different here. So let's look at some of these other assets and see how they might be faring as well. ETH, as you can see, did find bottom support on the trend line, which correlates beautifully with the 50-month moving average. Actually, we're looking at here. This is obviously a longer term view. We have a monthly up signal from trend precognition, A2 algo, and it looks like we're on pace to potentially get a new one at the close of this candle out of the A1 algo. And so the fact that ETH has held through this is pretty impressive. You could see we also had some, similarly to Bitcoin, we had some bottom formation down here on a multi-touch bottom around 2200, a couple of wicks below, but this really looking like the bottom for ETH, at least locally. Unfortunately, it looks like we do have a potential death cross between the 21 and 50-week moving averages. I'm not overly concerned about those. Those are relatively close in terms of time frame, but let's see if price can continue to move up and help kind of eliminate this or shorten the duration of this potential move here. Um, in terms of where the break is, let's see if we actually. I'm going to show you how I like to draw my trend lines here. Um, let's just do one of these deals right here, right? And this will be better if we take it down on time frames. This is kind of how I ballpark it. Now it's not like more like looks like it's more like this. And now let's take that in on time frames a little bit and we can fine tune this a touch. And get an idea of where it's going to take to break this. Let's just go like so. And you can see this is right pretty much correlated with the 200-day moving average. So that's really your technical breakout level. We'll go back to candles now and see what this looks like. I'm pretty confident with this, especially the fact that the trend line lays right with the 200-day moving average. That's what I'm looking for. Basically, you're clearing 3K for a validated breakout move for ETH. Right? That's a ways to go from here. Um, just in terms of percentile, that's about a 15% move from where we sit right now. Certainly possible. You've got some technical resistance right here at 2,700 with the 100-day moving average. If we look at the weeklies, we've got this zone right here, right? Look at it however you like. I think the higher time frames are going to serve you better here at this stage in the game. Nonetheless, this remains the breakout level for me. You may have something different. Obviously, on the breakdown side, losing the trend line, which currently sits at about 2,200, would invalidate the attempt to get out there, as would a rejection from here. Solana is actually Litecoin. I think I've got a chart up here. Litecoin has been, I've been seeing a lot about Litecoin lately, and I've been sitting on a bag that's been underwater for quite some time. Pretty happy to see this move. I'm not one that, for anybody that's been following my streams for a while, I'm not one to dabble in shit coins too much. But I do think that it's important to have at least some opportunity to gain some of the upside that some of these other coins have, because they could potentially move much higher in terms of percentile moves than Bitcoin. ETH is, Litecoin has been down in the dumps for a long time, but starting to work its way out of its trend. And so this is on the monthly. We look at the weekly. And you can see technical resistance here at the 50 and then 100 moving average, and look at the 200 way up here. Well, that'd be a pretty sweet move from here, right? If Litecoin can make it past the 200 week moving average, that in itself is a 50% move. So certainly got to like the upside potential here. Falling back into the channel would obviously invalidate this breakout attempt. So that's what I'm looking at here. That channel sitting, basically just around $60, $59.79 is where it is on my chart. So that's what I'm watching here on LTC. You can see on the daily chart, we're right at that 200-day moving average again. These are technical resistance, and failing to break them invalidates the attempt. The attempt remains alive, I would say, as long as we are above the trend line. So be prepared for that volatility if you're trying to build a bag there. Now, let's see. We said we would talk about Solana. SOL, USDT. Solana is another one that obviously is a heavy favorite, and you can see it also has similarly a kind of a cup and handle pattern forming here. But look how much the volume profile has degraded. So questionable whether or not this is a valid cup and handle. But however you look at it, you can see that we're in a pretty interesting spot here. Let's let's zoom this up a bit. You can see that we're in a pretty interesting spot, breaking kind of this shorter term trend and moving towards the top of the golden pocket, right? This is the zero point 0.5 fib down here. This is the 0.618 right here. And that is the golden pocket. And this is a macro move, by the way, right? It's from the all-time high down to the swing low back in December 2022. So obviously, huge move since then. And the opportunity to reclaim that level would put Solana on a trajectory to go back towards all-time highs. There's a lot of meat on the bone there. As you can see, we're pretty close to this 618 fib, and you got to break that, and then ultimately break this channel here to this trend line to have a shot at the bona fide breakout. So this is pretty much the validation and validation levels right here. As far as I'm concerned, this is, this is a micro trend right here, right? From when is this? This is back in July. Relative to the grand scheme of things, where I just showed you this macro view, I think this is a shorter term view in terms of this trend. It's kind of showing the mini break. We've got to get past the 618 fib, and ultimately that's at 164, we'll call it, and then ultimately this trend line at 173. So there's some upside there. If Solana can break the 618 fib, then I think there's a real good shot at having a validated breakout past this broader trend line, which comes from really the March high. So got to get past that, and that would be my breakout move. Obviously, falling back below this shorter term trend line will invalidate this move right here. And Doge was the other one that was making some big moves here. Doge has been primed for a while. I think this is the kind of the, how should I say, the prince of meme coins and shit coins. But let's face it, you know, Elon has been behind this coin for a long time. He's teasing some provocative things with potentially, if he if Trump gets elected and he potentially gets that that role, what was it, the Department of Government Efficiency, which he used the DOGE acronym for. Who knows if Doge could actually become something more. So for me, something I'm willing to take a small flyer on, but I don't put a lot of money in coins like that. And quite frankly, I don't hold them long term, or at least I never have. And at this point, I'd have to see something that encouraged me to do so. But let's just take a look at the chart real quick. I wanted to do it on the let's do it on the Binance chart, because I probably have some geometry there drawn already. As you can see, broken the trend line here, and now running into resistance right at this purple 200-week moving average, right? Got to get past that, basically get above 13 cents, and then you've got a breakout move happening for Doge. So this is really close, but you can see it's faced a rejection already here this week. If we look at it on the daily, hasn't quite made it to the 200-day moving average, but you see the confluence between the 200 and that 13-cent level that I was just discussing. So keep that in mind. That's the move that we need to see happen out of Doge. I'm calling it 13 cents for a breakout for Doge. If you're not already considering this to be the breakout, this is the validator as far as I'm concerned. You do you. That's how I trade it. With that, man, I think we've covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. So I'm going to wrap it right there with one last look at Bitcoin on fire charts. You can see the, let's see if we got any changes actually since our last little update here. Not so much. Maybe a little bit of strength forming around this 70K level. Looks like 47 million right at that level. And collectively, when we zoom out, there's a lot more in that space, as you can see. It's kind of it's been a little bit differently on the higher time frames, which makes it easier to see what's clustered in that whole range here. Again, about 45.5 million and another 80. So we're at about 100, like 123 million in this space right here. Got to get past that before we got a chance to go and take out this higher high. Well, this higher high, and then the all-time high. That's what I'm looking at. Hope that has given you some insight. Again, if you like the stream, do me a favor, smash all the buttons and make sure you hit that subscribe button above so you never miss a stream. Let's see a couple comments here before we go. AR. AR holds a little Litecoin. Saw the ETF filing by Canary and the XRP filing from a while back. Yeah, I saw that Litecoin filing as well today. No telling what the timing is on these things, but pretty interesting to see. That coming into play. I honestly thought the Solana would be the next ETF that gets approved, but again, that's kind of speculative. Just the fact that it's happening maybe is some good news for Litecoin. So far, don't know what it's done for XRP. There's just so much bad juju around XRP. I don't know if that's one that I'm confident with. Wondering if the market's front running Donald Trump's suspected win. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I think that that's a risky bet, in my opinion, because let's face it, there's a lot of negativity. The speculation on that win is coming off of a Polymarket poll or a Elon Musk poll. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know that the polls are. I don't know how accurate the polls are. Not worth speculating for me. It's going to be what it's going to be. We've got a couple weeks to go before this election, and hopefully, all of this political drama freaking dies down, man. Because quite frankly, I'm over it. Gonna leave you with a parting shot of maybe not. I'm going to leave. Oh, I went to the wrong chart. I'm going to leave you with a parting shot. A Bitcoin, you can see here, a little bit of sell pressure, but whales still seem to be buying in this range. Whether this little wall that has moved up to 66.5, whether this holds or not, remains to be seen. Oh, look at that, 66.66. That's a good number right there. I think. In any case, we could dip down here, and we could certainly go back and dip lower. So just because we're pumping, don't allow yourself to believe that there can't be any dumping. Just what we want to see is that the higher lows are protected. As long as we continue to make higher lows, we'll eventually grind our way out of this. Whether this happens before or after the election is anybody's guess, right? And that's all it is. It's a guess. So look at the charts. We talked about the invalidation levels and the validation levels. That's all you need to watch. Watch the levels, watch the charts, tune out the freaking noise. And with that, have a fantastic day. And as always, trade safe, my friends.